Hey, welcome to the video. So this video is probably titled like life updates and reflections on $1 million in sales. Before you think I'm super rich, like that's something I did as a sales rep. So I didn't creep nearly close to $1 million, but it's been a pretty cool learning experience. A lot has changed since I used to make videos here, so I thought this would be fun to just kind of talk, reflect, share some things I learned, and hopefully it's helpful to you too. So high level, I'll probably start with the sales stuff just because that's top of mind. So a couple of things here. In May, I was like kind of ghostwriting on the side, and I was thinking about going further down that path or even a little bit earlier, but I just wasn't loving the work personally. Like personality wise, I kind of like talking with people more. So I launched like a couple coaching offers on Twitter. They went really well, got some first clients. Shout out to my guy, Wahab, who helped me do that. Killer, total beast. From there, these guys I really respect on Twitter, Dickie and Cole, they were kind of like starting their own coaching program. And they tweeted out like, yo, we're looking for sales reps. This is the program. And I was like, oh, that's a good program. This is how much you can make. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. So I was like, that's a good idea. Applied, first ever sales job. Most people, they'll go like a setter and then a closer role. So actually I learned like the founder, and I just went straight into it and crushed the group interview, had so much fun, was just like ready, and it worked. Got the job, very quickly realized it was like kind of in over my head because they hired two of us at the same time. They hired me first, right him after the other guy, like we had our onboarding call like 15 minutes after each other. The other guy, Tristan, who I'm living with right now in North Carolina, he has been doing sales for like 2 years, and he's really like a natural talent. You know he's a sales guy when you first meet him. That's a compliment, but he's got it. He's got that it factor that like 99% of people don't have. And I certainly don't have it at the level that he has. So there was a super steep learning curve. I think he went like 5 for 6 his first calls. Like of the 6 people he had calls with, like no reps, closed 5. I think I went like 2 for 17 to start. So I was sweating, thinking I was gonna lose the job. Like, oh, my friends know I had it. And like, these are well-respected guys in the Twitter writing space. So for me, that was like super scary, but powered through. It was just like with a lot of support from Gene, which was super appreciated, just kind of made it work. And over the months, I returned back to the States over the summer, was basically just taking the sales calls. I'm still here in my new bedroom in Charlotte. I was taking them from my parents' house, went over to Munich for 3 months, did sales there. Now I'm back here in Charlotte indefinitely, living with Tristan, the other sales guy. So what did I learn from closing $1 million for this company? Well, a couple things. Probably, where to even start? I wrote down some notes. Probably like the biggest thing is conviction. And so it's not like tactics, like quick rebuttals, objection handling, like all those things, there's a place for them. But the big 80-20, like the biggest thing that's gonna move the needle and make you a better salesman or a better salesperson is believing in what you're selling. Because imagine if you're selling something to your little brother or your little sister that you knew was right for them, the way you speak to them, the power in your voice, like that true conviction, people feel that. And so if you're on the call with someone trying to close them and you don't think it's in their best interest, you have to kind of be a psychopath to hide that. So most people can't even hide that. And what's gonna happen is it's gonna shine through in your tonality, your body language, and you're not gonna sleep well. So like, that's not the right game. You wanna make sure you really believe in what you're selling. It sounds very obvious, but it's kind of easy to overlook. So that's the first thing. The second thing is kind of in the same boat, is just like radical truth. And so we sell an offer that helps people make more money as writers. And so some people come in and they're not successful. I'd love to say we had a 100% success rate, but people go to college and they don't get like, right, it's similar. And so on the sales phone, I'm literally like, yeah, this is a lot of work. It's gonna require a lot of effort, but we've had plenty of successful students who've come through this, executed. So what is this gonna change for you in your life, being able to make that extra 5K a month, let's say, that would make it worth the effort, that's gonna lead to you being persistent. And so that just that truth, rather than being like, yep, you're definitely, which is just not true, right? That being truthful is incredibly persuasive, because most people are expecting the salesman to be like, yeah, like it's everything gonna work, it's definitely gonna work. And it's just like, that's not reality. So being in touch with reality has been incredibly helpful. Last piece is like 80-20 again. So conviction, truth. Last piece is questions, getting good at asking questions, because fundamentally what you're doing on these calls, like I'm taking like 45-minute calls, there's a pre-booking application, we're vetting them, they know what they're getting into, but on the call, my job is to ask them the right questions in the right order to discover if we can help them and to help them understand like what their problem really is, what the cost of inaction is if they don't solve the problem, if they don't take action on it, why they even want what they want. Like it's kind of like a mini coaching session, like, or like a free consulting call. And then on the back end of that, after you find out you can help them, you give them a really simple pitch, just show them like what's actually going on here, what they're investing in. After that, it's like objection handling. It's not even that big of a deal. It's just like someone's maybe got a little bit of fear and you just help coach them, or you help them get over some limiting beliefs. And so it's pretty straightforward. That's not to say it's easy, because right, the first time someone says no to you, you're like, oh my God, what just happened? So there's been a lot of learning experiences there, which has been really fun. And just one last message on sales. Like the first thing is like who you're selling to. It's almost more important than what you're selling, because who you're selling to determines if it's even a good product, right? I'll tell you what I mean. I just need one sip. So let's say you're selling fake nails. If you're selling them to me, I don't want fake nails, right? You could have the best fake nails in the world, but I'm not the right prospect. And so like half of sales is like having the right prospects who actually have a real problem, which your solution, your offer is gonna solve. So that's been a big unlock for me too. And if someone's not a good fit, it's not like, shit, I didn't close them. It's like, they're not a good fit. Thank goodness they're not in the program, because we don't want someone in the program who's not a good fit. So that's some things learned on sales. Another thing is like meeting the other sales guy in person. Now we're living together, but I've met him in Miami a couple months ago. For the company retreat. And one day he just like kind of like showed me his email. He's like, oh, I'm still talking to a prospect. And I look at it, it was like 47 emails with this prospect. Meanwhile, for me, if someone was like, no or not now, I just like was like, okay, they're not interested. And he would follow up with people for weeks, give them more value, answer their questions, ask them questions over email. And like, it just was a big unlock for me in terms of the level of volume that winners actually dedicate to something. So a lot of people would be like, oh, I got my first no. Or they're starting a business and they're like, I sent one message out, one cold DM out, and I got no reply. And then they kind of stop. And being around these guys, like, oh, the level of volume is much higher than most people assume. Otherwise, I mean, one thing that's like really top of mind for me right now is some of my friends, particularly Matt, are making a lot of money in crypto. And meanwhile, I'm taking like 5 to 7 calls a day, not like 4 to 7 calls a day here in this room. And it's really hard work. You gotta be locked in, and whatever, you can definitely make more money in sales than in other industries, because you're it's not a double. I don't have a salary. I actually, my base income is 0. I only make money when I close deals. And so that's, some people would think that's risky. To me, that's what I'd rather do, because I'd rather be rewarded for my effort. But at the same time, it's like really hard work. You gotta stay really focused. You gotta really listen to people. You gotta be really empathetic, and that's challenging to do for like 4 to 7 hours a day. Meanwhile, my friends, the whole amount of money I saved in like 7-8 months of doing this, my friends making in like a month YOLOing some random crypto stuff. So that's definitely top of mind for me right now. Thinking just about getting more leverage, right? So like you work, but you can only really earn like linearly. Sales is a little bit better than linearly. But seeing some of my friends, what they're doing with trading or owning their own businesses, you definitely get a little bit of envy. So thinking in the future, maybe other vehicles, we'll see. High level though, things are going pretty well. It's definitely a new season. I miss being in Europe. There's a lot of people that I really like there, but I'm in a season of learning and like putting in the reps. And there's a lot of pattern recognition that comes from putting in reps. I learned this from learning languages. When I was learning German, you start and it's boring and you're getting the basics, But as you just like consume content, read books, talk to people, talk to tutors, talk to this, write essays, get feedback from like AI or something, and then suddenly you just know the patterns. I never studied German grammar that hard, but my grammar's like probably 90% correct, because I mean I studied the basics of course, but I never really went that deep on it. But the pattern recognition came through reps. It's kind of the same with sales and a lot of other things, right? Like I get on a call, very quickly you can tell, oh, this person's fairly analytical, right? They work in tech. They're gonna ask me a lot of very specific questions, and I'm gonna have to like really be on. Or sometimes you get on a call and it's like, oh, she's a vibes person. Like, this is great. Like, I like talking to vibes people because it's just like, do you want to do this? And they're kind of like, yeah. And they're like, all right, let's do it. And that's so much more fun than someone who's like worked in tech and is like, what's your exact success rate? If I join this, when should I expect to be successful, right? And like, those are legit questions and people can ask that, but it's just not as fun and not really my personality. So do you think, is there anything else? Just learning, having fun. I hope you're having a lot of fun too. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.